So it's been really long, but I was busy with some interviews. I did read two books, one in January, the other in February. Right now, I'm reading my third book. This video is about the review of the book I completed in February, which is this The Last Queen by Chitra Bannerjee Divakaruni. It is a historical fiction about the life of Maharani Jindan Kaur, who was the last queen of Punjab, the youngest and the last queen of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and the mother of the last king of Punjab, Maharaja Dalip Singh. As the book is a historical fiction, I did take everything with a pinch of salt, but apparently, the book is really well researched, and every character surrounding the protagonist is also based on real people. Chitra has such an amazing writing style that I could not keep the book down. I did have some problems in certain parts of the book, but I still could not keep the book down. I love how she writes about women's perspectives because we don't really get to see women's perspectives from such a time. We have learned about men's perspectives, men's valor, but this book has helped me get an insight on how things worked in the harem. From the book, I learned how queens were involved in the reign and how they were not. I learned about the relationships shared by the queens, their secrets, how there were factions within the queens and the courtiers, how the army could become stronger than the king or the regent. I also figured that being a queen just meant that you are in a golden cage. You don't really have much of powers with you. Throughout the book, I felt utter disgust towards the British, maybe more so than reading history books, because this book is written in first person, and it felt like everything was happening to me directly. From the British breaching all treaties throughout India, throughout the subcontinent back then, to them separating the mother and son, and then snatching the identity away from the son. Basically, everything that the British did was disgusting to the core. I ended up learning about the Dogras, the history of Kohinoor, the Nepal kingdom, the Afghans, and the treachery of the British. I also learned about the different types of queens. For instance, Rani Jindan was a queen regent, whereas Queen Elizabeth II, and I think even the first, yeah, there were queen regnants, queen regnant. Yeah, so there are other kinds of queens as well. The book was overall really good. It was a good read, except in certain parts where the relationship between Rani Jindan and Maharaja Ranjit Singh was romanticized. Of course, they were married, they had a son together, they were a couple, so it's all right, I guess. But me being from the 21st century, it was really difficult for me to digest such an age gap. Okay, so coming to the character of Rani Jindan, I'm going to read it from the phone because I have written down everything. This is what, look, I have written everything down. The book started with Jindan as a little girl. She was headstrong, loved her. I loved her energy. I loved her relationship with her brother Jawahar. And then she becomes a teenager, and she's as naive as any other teenager in love. She may come across as irritating in this part of the book because maybe she was intended to. Her demeanor changed in the initial days as a queen. I think around this time, she was looking for validation from the king. She saw how the queens were in the harem, in the zanana, and she probably pitied them, and she probably like she didn't want to be them. She wanted to have the king's validation at all times, and I'm not gonna lie, she came across as a pick me in this part of the book. And then we see her selfless side when she becomes Dalip's mother. And I also loved her relationship with Rani Guddan. I think she was a much better version of herself when she was with Guddan and her maid than the Maharaja. After that, we pity her for being at the mercy of the Dogras. Then we see her using her pawns the right way. And then we hate her and then pity her again. Oh, it's a roller coaster with her, you know. At the end, although powerless, she plays her cards right. She succeeds in planting the intended seeds into Dalit's mind. So she was basically successful in bringing him closer to his real identity. At the end, it was a poignant life where she initially gained everything, she won everything, and then she just lost everything. Now, coming to what I disliked about this book. Anytime I have to read any romance where there is a significant age gap or there's a significant power imbalance between the partners, I don't like it. I don't. I also don't like knowing deeply about the relationship between a teenager and a middle-aged person. I mean, when I said that I was disturbed while reading this part of the book, the part 1, it was partly because not only the age gap, but also the fact that she was a kid when they met. She was a teenager. She was 16 when they met. And then at 18, they got married. The, the king asked her to wait for 2 years. It did not sit right with me. I know that it was set in a completely different century in the past. So going ahead, I kind of put that in my mind, but it was really difficult for me to read all that. Wait, the lighting is so bad. Is this all right? I don't like it at all. Anyway, I have to use it. I don't have another light. What I loved about the book. So for me, part 2 of the book and part 4 of the book were the most interesting parts. I loved the part 2 because it was interesting. I got to learn about how the harem worked back then and how the complex relationships between the king and his sons, his grandsons, and then the relationships between the queens, the Afghans, the Dogras, everything. You know, all the politics. It was completely new to me. It was really interesting. Affairs and everything. I also love how Chitra wrote such vivid descriptions about the architecture of the palace. Because of the way it was written, I had to go and see everything. I went on Google and saw pictures of everything. It was really interesting. I loved the Sheesh Mahal. It's still there in Lahore. Check it out. Check out the Sheesh Mahal. It's easily one of the best looking interiors I've seen. Then part 4. Part 4 was so heartwarming for me. This is where we finally get to see both mother and son catch up after such a long separation. And in this part, Maharani Jindan did not make any mistakes. She was really smart here, maybe because she did not have anything to lose at that point, and maybe she could not bear to separate from her son again. Perhaps it was a bit too late for the kingdom, but it was definitely not late for Dalip because we finally found a closure for Dalip and Maharani Jindan. I'm just thankful that at the end of her life, she was with her son. There was some sense of justice at the end because the mother and the son met at the end. Although the kingdom was destroyed and the British basically took away everything. Um, but yeah, anyway, I hope you liked my view on the book. Let me show you which book I'm reading right now. It is this book. This is my second time trying to read this book. I've completed a chapter yesterday and I think I'll start the second chapter today. Wish me luck. I don't wanna get stuck. It's a fat book. Thank you for watching till the end if you did. Bye.